All right, now that we have our topic created, we're going to register our schema into schema registry and do some validation on top of it to make sure everything is working well. So go ahead, I have created this schemas folder here inside module 4. And here I am creating our Avro schema file that's going to define our purchase event. Okay, so go ahead and create it. You can copy it from GitHub, or we're gonna go through it. You can pause and write it down right now. So we're gonna call it a purchase event, and this is going to be our schema for all of the e-commerce purchases events in our ShopStream pipeline. And inside the fields, we're gonna have defined event ID, user ID, the region, that could be one of those three, US, EU, and Asia, the product ID, product name, the quantity, the amount, the currency, and the timestamp of when the event occurred. All right. So this is just representing how our events are going to look like. Okay. So for a matter of avoiding typos and stuff, I have it ready. So you go ahead, grab it from the repo. Okay. Inside the same folder, inside schemas, go ahead and create a Python file named verify schema. All right. So in this script, we're going to validate our schema syntax. And once it's good, we're going to register it with schema registry. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do the imports. So I'm going to copy a bunch of stuff here. Basically all of this first part from our topics setup, except for the Kafka admin. We don't need that. What we're gonna do is import it from our schema registry wrapper. Schema registry admin. The path should be the same. We're still importing YAML. We're still setting up the log. Okay. And here as well, I'm gonna copy that and that load config, because we also need to load the configuration. All right. So we're gonna change the name. Let's call it schema verify. And the definition to load the configuration is exactly the same. All right. With that, we're ready to load our schema. We need the schema name. Okay. So we need this function because before registering the schema with the schema registry, we need to load it and validate that it's syntactically correct, like a syntactically correct JSON. And we need to make sure that it follows Avro specification. And we're doing that just to prevent any runtime error when either the producers or the consumers try to use invalid schemas. So we have this safe check first. Okay. We're doing this validation this early just because we want to catch errors during the development and not in production. And sometimes the JSON syntax errors are way clearer than the Kafka errors, so we know what's going on. Just for us to get fast feedback of what's going on before we fail that. Okay, so let's define a schema path for us. It's going to be the path. We'll have an parent, and we're going to have the schema name. That's our schema path. So we're going to try to open it in read mode. Let's just read it, the string. Okay. So after we read it, we're going to validate this as a JSON. So we're going to do JSON.loads. We need to import JSON. JSON.loads. And then if we're able to do that, we just return schema loaded and validated schema name. All right, and then we'll return that schema string. Now, if we don't find this file, we can trigger file not found error and log it. Schema file not found. Schema path. Also, we can exit. Now, if we find it, but we found a decode error from JSON, that means that we have an invalid JSON schema, which we're trying to validate. So the user might need to check for like missing commas, brackets, you know, missing quotes, anything like this, and I just exit that. So that's our load schema. This is what we're going to do. Now we're going to create a function named verify schema registry. So first check the load. Now I verify schema registry. So schema registry is a separate service. Okay, so we know that it just stores and versions the schema. We can set all of the compatibility rules, provide the schema evolutions, etc., etc. Okay, so we know about it already. Now we just need to make sure we're verifying the schema in there. So the first thing you're gonna do is load the configuration that I just have, and you're gonna initialize the registry client. And our URL we can get from config in our YAML file. Kafka, inside Kafka, we have schema registry URL. Okay, now we're gonna load our purchase event schema. Load schema, the function that we just created, and we're naming it purchase event, our file right here. Okay, so now we're gonna just create a subject name. So our topic name is the same. Let's also fetch it from our config file. And then the subject name is going to be our topic. This is a convention. And add a value at the end. Okay? Now, when we register the schema into schema registry, the things that schema registry are going to do is to validate the Avro syntax. So it's just gonna check if it's valid Avro schema definition, the field types, all of the constraints. It's going to check compatibility. So it's going to compare with existing versions if we have any, apply all the compatibility rules, backward, forward, everything that I know. And it's going to reject any incompatible changes based on the policy. If it's successful, it's going to assign the unique schema ID, just like we've seen, that are basically the identifier that is unique across all of the subjects and that we use in the headers, so we can reference in the producer and the consumer. And it's going to store this with the version number. So each subject will have an independent version sequence. Okay? So let's go ahead and do this registration now. So registration info. We're going to call our register Avro, facilitator, subject name, and the schema string. If we get something, we'll get the schema ID, and let's log it out. schema registered successfully with ID schema ID. Okay. Then we can make sure we can retrieve it back. Here is a underscore. We're going to use our get latest function that I have defined. If we're able to get it back, we can grab the version. Let's log it. Schema registration successful. Version equals to version. That means now that the schema can be retrieved, and we'll work. This will work for the producers and the consumers. Now, if we cannot retrieve it, we can do a failed to retrieve register schema. Return false here. Now, if we don't get registration info at all, let's also log this as an error. Schema registration failed. We can also return false. And then after that, we can list all of the subjects just to verify our environment. So all registered subjects in schema registry. Skip line. So let's get our list subjects. So if we get subjects for a sub in subjects, let's log this sub. If we don't get any, we can say no subjects found. This is okay if it's fresh. If it's a fresh environment, we won't find anything. And finally, we can return true for everything here. Okay? Now, that's enough for us to verify this. So let's get our main function. And let's try. If we're able to verify it, let's log it. Schema registry verification complete. So now that means our schema is ready to use. If we are not able to do this, let's log an error. Schema registry verification failed. And it can exit that. Now if we get an exception, we can say that verification failed with an unexpected error. And I can exit that as well. So that concludes. We're trying to load. We're doing all of the verification. We'll first check the schema syntax. Then we'll try to load it. Do all of the verification. And if it's good, we're good to go. Okay? Let's go ahead and run it. I got a disconnection here. Let me open a new terminal. Alright, so I had to reinstall, restart here my terminal. So now we're ready to test it. Let's run. Verify schema. Oh yeah, I had to restart. I'm not in the environment. So source, Kafka and oh, now I'm inside the environment. Let me get back. And let me run. Okay, so schema was initialized, loaded, and validated. Purchase event. Registered Avro for the subject shopstream purchase value. My version is 2 because I've tested it beforehand. The latest is 2. Successfully registered with ID 1. Cool. Registration successful. All registered subjects in the schema. Shopstream purchase value. Schema registry verification complete. Awesome. So now if we go here into our UI, and if you update that, go to schema registry, you'll see our subject here, shopstream purchase value. And you can see that we have it created. Perfect. So now we can start using producers and consumers to rely on that schema that the registers have registered. Okay, see you in the next video.